Hey, Cody Butler here, and welcome to Small Business Marketing Made Easy. Today's guest is Adam Lundquist, Harvard educated, worked with been on some of the biggest publications when it comes to marketing in the world. Been on what publications have you been in, Adam? Just tell people quickly.
For the marketing world, Kiss Metrics probably the biggest one. I spoke at HeroConf. Search Engine Journal has been a big one. Pretty much all of them, really.
So when it comes to marketing and paid ads, Adam is the guy that you want to be listening to. So Adam's coming on today to talk to us about paid advertising, how to make paid advertising work in your business, how to make it profitable. So a lot of people try paid advertising and it doesn't work for them. They're unable to get the ROI, they're unable to get the return that they're looking for. So Adam's coming on today to talk to us about some of the mistakes that people are making and what you can do to actually get your paid advertising profitable. Welcome to the show, Adam. How are you?
Thanks, I'm doing pretty good. I'm out here in rural Maine, home of internet advertising. And just, I always enjoy talking to you.
Great. So just for everybody else, I've been working with Adam for a long time now, which is why I've brought him onto the show today, because there's nobody that's getting better results for clients that I've seen than Adam. And we're all about getting results for our clients, for our listeners. So that's why I brought Adam on today. So Adam, you've got the floor is yours, brother. Take over.
All right, let me pull that floor up. I'm going to share my screen. And for those who are just on audio, just imagine a shared screen. Can you see it?
We've got it.
All right. So this aptly named presentation is called More Traffic and Sales with Strategic Systematic Internet Advertising. So we're going to be talking about a little bit about systems and strategy, because anything else is just kind of in the hinterlands. We really want to be talking about the strategy, which is just absolutely clutch. So there we go. So I want to start by, of course, thanking Cody, who's been kind of like one of my business mentors. We've been working together for what, like 6 or 7 years at this point?
It's been a while. It's been multiple years for sure.
Yeah, I'm just thankful for you.
About 5 years.
Yeah, I recommend your course to everyone. To this day, I go back to it to look at sales calls, especially. It really helped me close a lot of calls. So I'm going to quickly talk about me and then really get to the heart of the subject. So I'm Adam Lundquist. Hello. I'm a marketer. I'm a published author. Like Cody said, I'm a Harvard graduate. I always wish I combed my hair in that picture. I'm a veteran. I don't think you knew that, did you, Cody?
I didn't know.
That's very exciting stuff. And I'm the founder of Nerds Do It Better. So Nerds Do It Better, we founded it in Philadelphia in 2013. We are Google partners, which means that we had to pass a couple tests. And you have to have a certain amount of ad spend. Your partners do. Your clients do, actually. Featured speaker, I was at HeroConf. Like I said, we've been in the Gazette, Search Engine Journal, and Kiss Metrics. Probably the biggest three. Kiss Metrics is a big one for me. But what we're actually most proud of is the clients and the results that we get them. So as an example, Kukewaula, which is a luxury real estate company out of Kauai. We brought them more leads in the first month than the 6 months previous. This is their quote from their marketing manager about that. And Yao Clinic, which we really help with strategically getting them better leads rather than just more leads. So we're going to be talking a little bit about lead quality as well. And some of our other clients, as we're all proud of, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was one. Sarah Noked, who I highly recommend too. She's awesome, really good for systems. Bamia DeSmith, lawyers. But a lot of people ask me, like, how did I actually get all these clients? Like, where did this come from? Like, it actually wasn't connections I had, and it actually wasn't Harvard, which is just what everyone assumes. And like, I understand why. I was actually at a disadvantage when I started this. I was transitioning from an old school profession. I was a radio show shock jockey. You can see me and my co-host looking like a Muppet there. And I wasn't in the tech sector, actually. I was in Santa Barbara. So Santa Barbara, definitely a rich town, name recognition. But it's not San Francisco. It's certainly not New York. And when I was there, it was very much not San Francisco and very much not New York. So I was actually able to transition to become a featured speaker at some of the biggest paid search conferences. Like I said, HeroConf is definitely the biggest one I spoke at. And now my income's 100% online. And I've been able to live in some of the most expensive places in the world. This year was South Kensington in London, which, Cody, I know you're British. You know how expensive that place is.
Yep, sure do.
And like, I'll just put it out there. I'm not an oil baron, even though a lot of people there are oil barons. And Santa Barbara this year again, which was awesome. We attract qualified clients on demand. That is a huge difference, because when I started, I just attracted clients, which wasn't the world's greatest. So I'm going to show you the most important strategic insight that got me from there, which was a radio DJ who made $12 an hour, to here, where I have my own business and a couple employees, and things are generally going pretty good. So this is going to be a little bit of a different type of webinar. I'm going to actually show you a story so that you understand how I figured this out, because one, it's kind of an interesting story. It's definitely unique. And two, it's going to directly apply to your marketing funnel. So if I just told you to do it, it doesn't work as well. So like I told Cody, this is the first time I'm doing this kind of webinar, but I do this all the time with clients. Sometimes they like when I speak in parables, sometimes they don't. So businesses generally ask me a couple questions. One, how to get good traffic to your site, because anyone can get crap traffic, like, you know. How to find qualified leads. So you're going to get a lot of leads. It's just not that hard to drive leads right now, but it is hard to drive qualified leads. Or not hard, you just have to have the right strategy. How do you make your marketing message stand out? And when do you close the leads? So I'm sure, and Cody, I'm sure you've seen this too, we just get those crap messages on LinkedIn. They're like, hey, we've never talked to each other. Can I have an hour of your time? Like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, okay, yeah, you definitely cannot have an hour of my time, and now you're blocked. So we want to talk about this like from a strategy point, like a real world, how does this actually work? Because that's something that I really want to emphasize, that what I'm going to show you is strategy. It's not magic. You still have to do the work. But I'm going to show you all of this. This is going to go pretty fast, so take notes because I've got a bunch to cover. So I want to start with some interesting numbers. The average American, according to Forbes, sees between 4,000 to 10,000 marketing messages per day. And most of those messages are ignored. You're just not going to take note of 4,000 or 10,000 marketing messages per day. So an ignored marketing message is just a wasted opportunity. You're basically paying to go in front of someone who's not even paying attention to you. That sucks. So our goals within this particular platform, I guess, are to show you how to get more traffic and sales through strategies and systems using internet advertising to get better qualified customers cheaper than your competitors can. What do you think, Cody? Can I do it?
I like the sound of that, Adam. I hope you can, because I'm excited right now.
If I can, I've really promised a lot more than I can deliver.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to show you how I did this by showing you and the audience how I had one of the first viral videos on the internet. So I did, this was around 2008. I had one of the first viral videos. So kind of a weird fact about me that not everyone knows. 100% true, the video is still up. And I'm going to show you how I did it and how this directly applies to your marketing. So the beginning of this was I had this unbelievable interview with this guy, Sam Cassell. He played with the Lakers. At the time, he was with the Los Angeles Clippers. He's an American basketball player. If you have an audience that's international. I wanted the video to go viral. I posted the video on YouTube and got almost no traffic to it. I hit a brick wall, right? Like, I had this great product and no one was consuming it. I assume that anyone who has a business can relate. You have a great product, no one's making the purchase, no one's becoming leads. So that's kind of where we started. So there are 3 rounds to what I'm going to show you, and they're going to directly relate to the 3 levels of marketing. So I want to make this video go viral. So I wrote to my friends in the local media. Like I said, I was in Santa Barbara. I was a radio guy. I asked the local media to post on their local sites. And I noted to them that this would be good for their audience. But when I reached out to the bigger sites, I hit a brick wall, just nothing. So round 1, the lesson I got was you have to think about the end user and what do they care about, because it's not about you. For me, I already knew this. This was a lesson I knew. And on this round, I got on the News Press, the Independent, the Ed Hat, which is a local Santa Barbara site, and the Daily Sound, which was pretty much the Santa Barbara quadfecta. But like I said, I hit this brick wall where I just was not getting on these bigger sites. So for round 2, I had to answer the question, how do I get on the bigger venues? I thought, all right, is it the video? Because the video is being posted on the sites of Santa Barbara, but not on the sites of the bigger venues. So I wasn't even really getting a response. So I thought, all right, is it the video? So I just asked these bigger venues, hey, look, can you just watch the video? You don't even have to post it. And by lowering that commitment, we started to get better end results. So they'd watch the video and then they would post the video. So because this was a different audience who didn't know me, I needed a different offer prior to doing what I wanted. So instead of just saying, hey, will you post this video? I said, hey, will you watch it? They would watch it. and then they would post it. Sometimes I'd have to ask if they would then post it. Sometimes they would just post it. Went well. But when I reached out to bigger sites, I hit a brick wall. So the lesson from round 2 was that different audiences need different commitment offers. If it's right, they'll still do what you want in the end. So what I mean by that is the offer you're offering them, if what you have matches where your audience is, you can still get them to do your end offer. And these were the bigger sites I got in round 2. And for me, these were big. Barstool Sports is a pretty big one. BCN, that's the radio station in Boston I grew up listening to. For me, that was awesome to have all the hometown kids be like, hey, I heard you on the radio. Complex is a really big website, and Bleacher Report's pretty much the biggest sports one you can be on. But like I said, I hit a wall, so I hit round 3. So then I thought, how do I get this video on the biggest venues? So I got no response when I just wrote to them. I said, hey, will you watch this video? I kept lowering the threat level of the commitment until it was just, are you interested? So I'd write them an email. I'd say, hey, I have this video. Would you be interested in it? So not only did I lower the commitment bar, if someone wrote back to me and said, hey, I'm interested, we started to get to know each other a bit. And they became, they got to like me, or theoretically like me. And by doing that, we had 2 things going for them. We lowered the commitment bar and we built a relationship. So we got them. So for round 3, the lesson is as a person starts to lower the commitment and interacts with you more, they're more likely to know, like, and trust, and eventually do what you want them to. And so these were the biggest ones I got on. I got on Sports Illustrated, which was just huge for me. They put it as their number 7 viral video of all time. Best Damn Sports Show, which is a huge, just one of the biggest programs in the US for sports, and The Best Week Ever, which is a big program on VH1. And that all started with me just saying, hey, would you be interested? So that's how I had one of the first viral videos. Now, cool, that's like awesome, Adam. You had a matching commitment offer. Build a relationship works for making a video viral, but can't work for anything else. I know what you're thinking, and I would think the same thing, but I respectfully disagree. You see how I put the respectfully in quotes there? So I use this exact 2 strategies, which were matching the offer and building the relationship to get featured on the biggest blogs. This is exactly what I do to get on these blogs. I don't just write and say, hey, will you feature me on a blog? That's never gonna work. How I landed a new job because I had a job between radio and starting my own company. And it was a huge step up. It's exactly how I get clients. It's how I get my clients' clients. So let's talk about how this works for your marketing funnel. So you're gonna figure out your core offer. And I'm gonna show you exactly how to do this. You're gonna figure out your core offer, which in my case was for people to put the video on their site or to feature the video. You're gonna sort your audiences, and you're gonna match your audiences with the offer. So Cody, you're gonna play the role of the audience here and ask any questions if you have them.
Yeah, got you.
So in step 1, we're gonna figure out your core offer. And this is how I basically broke it down. If your commitment is over $1,000, you're gonna need a consult. I don't see any way around that. I've never seen success otherwise. I think the audience needs to talk to someone if your offer is over $1,000. If it's tech, I would go for the trial. So that would be Unbounce, which I use quite a bit. They do a free 2-week trial. Lead Page is the same. I think Aweber is probably the same. Is it difficult to understand? I would say you're going to be asking for a demo. I don't have a great example for that, but that's what I've found. Is it a commodity? So that's something along the lines of Geico. They're going to be going for a quote. If it's under $1,000, you can ask for a purchase. Although I will say anywhere between 500 and 1,000, I'd still recommend a consult. Does that make sense for the core offer?
Yeah, that's great, Adam. So basically, you want to figure out what is the conversion mechanism that is going to convert best for the offer that you're making, right?
Exactly. So if you have a product over $1,000, you're probably not going to be just able to get a quote and then get the sale for your core offer. But if it's under 1,000, you might be able to. And that's not like a hard number. You still need to test it, but that's about what I found. So then step 2 is to sort your audience. So your audience is basically going to be in three buckets. You have your cold audience that really never heard of you. So in my case, that would be, well, I don't know how to say it.
Most people listen to this right now.
Yeah, that's pretty much everyone who's not me or my wife or you. Medium, they've been to your blog, they've been to your webpage, or they've interacted with you on Facebook. And then hot is they've submitted a form. So if they've submitted a lead form, that's what I consider hot. When I say medium, that can also be submitted a form to download an ebook, to download a white paper. And we're going to talk about the offer in the next step. Do you have any questions about that, Cody?
No, pretty clear so far. So when you say hot, it's basically someone who's really raised their hand and said, I'm really in the market for what you're doing here. Medium is kind of like, excuse me, lower down the awareness level, right? They're kind of interested, but you don't know if they're buyers or not yet.
Right. So if you try to sell to someone in a medium audience, they typically won't buy and they'll actually be turned off by it.
Yeah.
Actually, how I got featured in Kiss Metrics was I wrote an article about it. And it was kind of talking about like dating a little bit more. But if you just went up to someone at a bar and said, hey, do you want to get married? That's a cold person with a hot offer to an extent. You have to match it. So you can have the same person as long as you're walking them through it and eventually get married, if you will, or have the sale, if you will. Although it's definitely weird to think yourself selling your marriage. Yeah. I think the structure of it stands.
So let me just throw something in there, Adam. So you may find someone who'll say yes to you in that bar. If you ask enough people, somebody probably will say yes, they'll marry you. But the question is, do you really want to be married to that person? Is that going to be the best husband or wife for you?
Totally. And you'll also probably have a lot of churn, which that's a little outside the scope of this webinar. But just from a business standpoint, it's 10 times more expensive to get a new client than to keep a client. So if you have churn all the time, it just sucks and it's bad for your business. Like it's not pleasant having to churn. So if you can have this audience go through, by the time they're hot, eventually the sale is much easier as well. Like much, 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 much easier. And Cody, I've actually always thought you were really good about this because you have webinars which warm up your audience. Like I remember seeing your webinar years ago. And still to this day, I remember because it was really good. It really provided information.
Thank you.
So your third step is just to match the audience with the offer. So you can do this in a wide variety of ways, but these are the ones that I found work the best. So your cold audience, you just want them viewing. You're not even asking anything. You want them viewing and adding value. So if you have a blog that's awesome, put it in front of them. If you have a video that really adds value, put it in front of them. Even this, I would consider a value-adding video. There's no hard sell here. I'm not like giving you mystical things. I'm really trying to show you exactly how I do it. If you have a medium audience, so as you move them along, quizzes work really well. You can also sometimes use quizzes in a cold audience. They're just interesting. If you say, I don't know, like, think of like those 17 quizzes. Like, what are the 10 things that help? I'm trying to think of a real world quiz we've used. I can't think of any off the top of my head. But quizzes are interactive and they work well. Ebooks work well for medium, white papers, webinars. And again, this is just about what adds value to your particular audience. We used quizzes for a relationship coach. That's what we used it for. And it worked really well. It was way better to say like, hey, what's the main area of trouble in your marriage than to give them an ebook. It's like 10 troubles in marriage. And then hot, you're talking about that core offer, which again, we saw was the core offer here. Any of these would work. That's really it. Those are the 3 steps to grow your marketing funnel. You figure out your core offer, you sort your audiences, and then you match your audience with the offer. That's it. Cody, do you have any questions? Like that's not the whole presentation, but do you have any questions about what is my core message here?
No, so basically it's like, I call it, this is simplicity on the far side of complexity. It's like what works is the simplest thing in the world, but most people they need to go through extreme complexity to figure out that actually it's basics that win games. It's set plays that win games. This is your basics right here. So what's your offer? Who's your audience? And then match that audience and offer, and you're going to win. That's pretty much all there is to it, right, Adam?
Yeah, simple doesn't mean easy. It's like a push-up.
Yeah,
it's the simplest thing you can do, but it's hard.
That's right.
And that's kind of the point is like, so you're all set and ready to go, right? Well, yes and no. So this is John Madden. Cody, do you know who John Madden is?
I know him from the video games when I was a kid.
That's exactly it. He's an announcer. I think he's actually a Hall of Fame coach. But he explains American football in one sentence where he says, usually the team that scores the most points wins the game. And yeah, no, that's true, John Madden. But the details make all the difference in this stuff. So, you kind of have to figure out some of the more details. And since this isn't a 1,000-hour webinar, some of the things you're going to want to think about are like, how do you make an attractive landing page that's professional to send people to? How do you track all of this? Because this is clutch to track it. What happens if you run a campaign, it doesn't work? Where do you start if you don't have any audience? Like how cold is cold? Like where do you find that audience? This has been one that's been interesting lately. What happens if a user starts to fill out a form and doesn't leave? And you know, everything else you need to know that you don't know. Like you don't know what you don't know. So, I mean, I don't want to do like too big a pitch here, but you could kind of figure it out, or I could help you figure it out. So what I do is I work with clients to consult so that they understand it and implement. So that's a little bit of a different thing. It's not just me saying, hey, this is all done, or me saying, hey, this is what you should do. It's a mix of the two because it's really important that my clients understand what's going on and why it's going on because it's their business. Just some examples of some of the results that we've gotten. There's Bamiata Smith. They are a lawyer out of Santa Barbara. They're another one where we got great results. They tripled the leads from their previous marketing service. For them, it was about phone calls. This is Cloud Medical. They're a really cool company. They do direct primary care. Just awesome. It's like Netflix for care. So you do it on a monthly basis. We doubled their membership using a Facebook funnel. Very similar situation though. You can see this is the top of the funnel. We're giving out an ebook. I guess so this was actually mid-funnel, so we give out the ebook. And even within that, there was a mini funnel where it was ebook to consultation. So we did a flipped mini funnel. Cody describes it as, was it frog in boiling water? Is that what it's called? That what you call it?
Yeah, the frog in boiling water strategy.
Yep. That was, I mean, you know, I learned this stuff from somewhere. I've taken that and called it a yes ladder because it is a bit, you'll see the actual, we'll go through my landing page. I'll show you the actual structure is a yes ladder landing page where the more you click, the more you go through it. I wrote an article about that in Search Engine Journal. I think it's in this presentation. Might not be, I don't know. Plus, we include some deliverables like competitive analysis. Cody knows I do everything through Google Sheets. Landing pages, everything runs through Unbounce. It doesn't really matter to you as a person watching this except to know that they're lightning fast. Project planning and maintenance, kickoff data analysis report. That's really cool. So we do quarterly business reviews. I think this is really cool. It's real profitable. How's that instead of cool? So we take the stats you have, if you have stats, and then compare it. So you have you know the percentage difference, which was how I knew all the percentage differences as we went through those, and a business intelligence dashboard and consulting for strategy. So if you do want to do this, go to nerdsdoitbetter.com/get started. You will see a custom yes ladder unbalanced landing page. We'll do a consult. It really is not a high pressure thing. I don't do high pressure things. I don't really need a ton more clients, to be quite honest. But I do always look for awesome clients because one, it's profitable for me. Two, it's fun. And three, at some point, I'm probably going to retire. So we'll see if we're a good fit. We do a nice competitor review because that is really key. You need to know in the marketplace. Give you some optimization tips and custom pricing, really depending on what you want. You know, clear the elephant in the room. That's always going to be important. And that's it. What kind of questions do you have for me?
So who's an ideal client for you? Who's this going to work really well for? So there are some businesses this is not going to work for, right? There are some businesses it's going to work much better for. So is this going to work for generating clients for marketing agencies, for example? Or is this going to work well for coaching businesses? Or what type of businesses is this going to be really, really great for, Adam?
Yeah, you tee me up because I missed that last slide. This will be perfect for anyone who doesn't get offended by honest feedback. I haven't had a ton of issue with this, but I have had a little issue with this in the past. If you're going to be offended if I tell you that something's not working, then it's not going to work. Like if you're worried about how, like I'm not going to tell you meanly, but I'm going to tell you what I think will be the most profitable thing. And look, sometimes I'm wrong too. I'm not, like I'm just a person. And I've definitely been wrong. But we need to have open and honest feedback. There's going to be perfect people who have a high revenue product to sell. So if you have a commodity, say if you're selling Oakley sunglasses, I'm not the right person for commodity work. It's just not really what I do. You're going to want to do something, like, I don't even know how you would sell a commodity at this point. I just wouldn't do it. But if you have something that's unique to sell, then I can definitely help you with that. I can help marketing agencies for sure. I mean, I run one myself, it's pretty successful. And it's not a commodity if, say, you do SEO and someone else does SEO. I don't do SEO, but if someone else does it, that's not a commodity because you're different. What you're doing is a different mechanism. You're selling it differently. And it's also important to me that you put in the work, because I'll say this a million times, the internet isn't magic. If you get a lead and you get a consult, take it seriously. Like they're not unlimited. So really take it seriously and have good sales calls. Especially if you have a high revenue product, you're gonna have to think about how you wanna do your sales call. And I can consult with you a little bit and help you out a little bit. Like I said, I do the consulting part of it, but like really think about it. Like every sales call, like I obviously don't know exactly who's watching, but if you sell a product, it's a couple $1,000, you don't need a ton of those to be extremely profitable. Like those lawyers I have, a contested divorce, not like I have one, not like I'm looking for one, but no, it's because I work with them. They're extremely, extremely expensive. So 1 or 2 contested divorces in some of the markets I have, like Santa Barbara, guys in Salt Lake City, you know, it really adds up. So I'm going to look for you to put in the work too and kind of partner with me, because like, probably the same as Cody is, like your success is my success. If I have crappy clients, I have a crappy day. So I do screen pretty hard on the consultation. Like I said, it's not a hard sales call because like if you're not good and you're not willing to put in the work, then like I don't need the money that much. So, you know, I really do try and find clients who put in the work too.
Awesome, awesome. So basically, if you have a great business, if your business is functional, you got to have a functional business, right? You've got to have a decent product. You've got to have a sales process in place. If you have those things, if the only problem that you really have in your business right now, if the major bottleneck is you just need more business, then this is going to be perfect for you. If you've got a little spark, if you've got some fire going, Adam can pour the gasoline on that. We're not necessarily going to get that spark for you, but we're going to pour gasoline on an already burning fire. So if you've got a great business and you just need more of it, this is going to be absolutely perfect, right, Adam?
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's how most of them come to me. Like you saw, a lot of them said compared to my previous marketing company. So a lot of them have even tried AdWords before, tried Facebook before. I do any network, like I'm kind of network agnostic. And some of them makes more sense for than others. Like lawyers, I do run some Facebook ads for, depending on the lawyer vertical. But they're way more profitable when someone types in like, how do I beat a DUI in AdWords. But for some, it makes more sense than Facebook. I do run many more Facebook than AdWords at the exact moment. But yeah, if you have something and your product is good, call it your Sam Cassell video, which now I look back, wasn't even all that great a video. But if you have something like that we can send them to, that is your offering and your service, this really builds too, because every client you sign and service well, and I'm going to put the word well in there, you're going to be getting referrals. And referrals work really well too. So it kind of snowballs. There's a book called Good to Great by Jim Collins where he talks about a flywheel. And that's exactly what it is. It's a big flywheel. I should have put it as another point. You like talking about business books because that's like basically all I do is sit around and read those. But that doesn't have to be a point. You can tell me to shut up about those.
Yeah, no, it sounds great, Adam. So where do you need to be in your business for this to really be to really work well for you? Because obviously this is we're talking about serious advertising here. We're talking about really investing into a business and growing a business. So this is not going to be for pre-startups or people in the early startup stage, right? So at what point in the business life cycle that you're going through, what's a great time to start considering bringing in paid advertising, bringing in pay-per-click ads, stuff like that to grow your business? At what point in the growth cycle would you say, Adam, is a great time for a business to start considering something like this?
That's a good question. So there's kind of two ways to look at it. So if you're in a startup and it's a funded startup, like I said off the call, and again, Cody, let's keep what I talked about previously off. That was a venture-backed firm. So they have money for advertising, but they are just starting. So that's fine too. If you're, say, venture-backed and you have the money for it, that's fine because we'll just build out the funnel. And in that case, we're just building it out and you're good to go. If you're just scraping by and like, this is like everything and just like you're taking out loans from the bank, like don't do it. That's not a good use of your money. I wouldn't recommend that even a little bit to anyone. It's going to stress you out. It's going to stress me out, which I don't want to do. And really, if that's how you come across on the call, like the console call, I'm just not going to take you on. But if you have like a pretty good, reliable business and you want to grow it and scale it, then yeah, it works great. It works great for local businesses. Again, this is if you have like a good product that's kind of like high margin or high revenue. I have a couple doctors who do testosterone therapy, hormonal estrogen therapy. I know that that works really well. Laser, cold laser, whatever that stuff is called. What's it called? The cold, I can't remember off the top of my head. It's kind of late here. Cold laser therapy for fat reduction. We have a couple of those. Lawyers works really well for. We even had some small ones. We had a couple paving companies that worked really well. But if you have a good product, and also so software as a service would be, those work awesome. Software as a service where your core offer is a trial, just crushes. Like that works really well, especially if your trial, if at the end of it, a lot of the people sign up, that works really well too, because when you think of the revenue model of that, you're usually not getting a huge revenue stream at the beginning, but because of the recurring revenue and low churn, those work really, really well.
Yeah, that's awesome. So basically, just to clarify, so e-commerce is not your thing, right? So if you're selling widgets, if you're selling t-shirts from Teespring, stuff like that, this is not going to be for you for sure. So this is going to work really well for people that are selling high ticket, high margin products. So such as the services you've described there. Marketing agency services are great, coaching services are great, any kind of professional service, doctor, lawyer, accountant, chiropractor, financial planner, anything where you have, it's a high value service. And if there's recurring revenue in that as well, if there's a recurring element to what you do, then this really is going to be a home run for you. If you're selling a high ticket recurring revenue product, then this is really going to be a home run for you, because if a client's worth $25,000, $30,000 to you over the course of a year, there's really no way you can lose with this, providing that you're the real deal. You're able to create some pretty decent content, right? You're able to communicate. You don't have Tourette syndrome or something like that. So if you're selling high ticket recurring revenue, then this is definitely going to be something that you're going to want to consider. E-commerce, not so much.
Yeah, I mean, I came up on e-com, but they were unique. They weren't commoditized. When I say came up on it, my first huge client was an e-com client, but they had I'm trying to think how to say this without giving away. They had a proprietary thing that protected cell phones, is the best way I'll describe it. But that's not really what I want to do anymore. But if you're curious about it, just reach out and I'll let you know. I'm not going to waste your time. So if it's a good fit, we'll talk. And if not, I'll just, I got a ton of friends who do this. We're a whole bunch of nerds. I could give you to someone who does do good with that straight e-com. If you are an e-com and you are, like I said, software as a service, coaching, I don't consider e-com. That's something I definitely help with. So if you're selling something online that is like coaching, something like that, we totally do that. If you're selling t-shirts, yeah, I'm definitely not going to be your guy. I think that would actually be really hard to do, especially in this business climate. Yeah.
Adam, that's fantastic. Anything else you want to add before we wrap it up today?
No. So just totally happy to be here. I really appreciate you giving me the time.
Awesome.
You have a great audience, and I really appreciate it. Feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much. So just before we go, just tell the people again where they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, so if you want to do a consultation, do nerdsdoitbetter.com/get started. I'm also on Twitter at adamlundquist.com. And in the blogosphere, I think I do pretty much a monthly article for Search Engine Journal. And I'll probably have another one for PPC Hero coming out again. Within the next couple. It kind of depends how much time I have to write.
Adam, you've been an amazing guest. Thank you for sharing this. Bless you. Make sure you give us a thumbs up, like us, leave a comment, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Cody.
Bye-bye.